This is how to change the inner and outer tie rod on your Porsche 911, Boxster, or Cayman from 2005 to 2012. The first thing you're gonna do is jack up your car and take off the front wheels. Next, take your key and insert it into the ignition. This will unlock your steering wheel to move left and right. Grab onto your rotor and caliper and turn this to the left to expose this nut right here. Take an 18mm socket on an impact, and bust this nut off right here. Next, install a ball joint removal tool onto this tie rod ball joint right here. Snug it down with your fingers. You're gonna impact this, pop this threads out. If you don't have one of these tools, I have linked one in the description of the video. Go ahead and add some thread lubricant to the tie rod right here. Next, you're gonna take a 21mm wrench. You're gonna put it on the tie rod itself. Take your other 21mm wrench and you're gonna go loosen this jam nut right here, just like that. Before loosening this arm, go ahead and take your 21mm wrench and spin this jam nut all the way into the inner tie rod until it bottoms out. Next, take some digital calipers and measure the distance between the tie rod and the jam nut itself and write this value down. What this is going to do is give you a very good starting point when you go install your new tie rod so you can get yourself from your shop or garage to the suspension shop. The next thing you're going to do is unthread the outer tie rod right here. If you have any trouble, you may need to use some heat applied to the outer casing of the tie rod so that this expands, and you can go and unthread it off the inner tie rod joint. Additionally, if that doesn't work, you can always just cut this off with an angle grinder and a metal cutoff disc. But this should, you can put a 21 on here and a 21 on here and rotate it off. This inner one is a 13mm as well. With the outer tie rod removed, you can get some pliers and remove this ring right here. That will allow us access to remove this entire accordion boot. The next thing you're gonna do is remove this oyster clamp. I'll zoom out here, it's on the very deep side of this accordion rubber boot. Go ahead and put a long screwdriver in there, just pop up on the oyster clamp and it will break. All right, that's it broken. Go pull it out. Okay, there it is right here. Now you can grab this boot and just pull it off. All right, so we've pulled the boot off here and you can see a lot of this like corrosion and this moisture up in here. This thing looks not too good. And going down there, you can see the shaft that goes in and out of the power steering pump. Sorry, of the steering rack is a little bit corroded, water droplets, etc. So we're gonna go replace all this. Hopefully we won't need a new steering rack. Let's go ahead to the next step. And this is the inner boot of insides here of what came out, so it's pretty nasty. So happy we're replacing this. All right, this is what's called an inner tie rod tool. What it is, it's a set of all these little crow's foots that come included with the kit. So this is currently threaded into the steering rack of the car, and there's going to be a hex nut on here. The only way to unscrew this is to put this crow's foot on this part of the tie rod, okay? And then you're gonna go take this tube here, which has a 1/2" drive on the end. And you're gonna go insert the tube over the tie rod, and that's gonna get captured. There's this metal sleeve on here. You engage the sleeve, which pretty much holds that crow's foot in place. And now, with your 1/2" ratchet, you can go ahead and unscrew the inner tie rod from the steering rack. I put a link in the description below on where to buy this, as well as all parts used in this video, the outer tie rods, the inner tie rods, any tools I've used, specialty tools, as well as Loctite, etc. And all those work specs are in the description of the video. That should help you out. The first thing I'm gonna do is actually wipe off a lot of this corrosion and clean this up with some brake clean. So then we'll start from there. The crow's foot I'm going to be using to remove the inner tie rod is a 1 1/4 inch. This is off the, I believe, the stock tie rod. So we'll go ahead and put that on right there. But then I'm gonna go and put this sleeve onto open, so there's an open slot right there. And now we're gonna go insert this onto the crow's foot while kind of holding the back of it. And then we're gonna get it in there and rotate that sleeve so it locks in place. And now we're gonna put our 1/2-inch drive onto this and bust it loose. Now with my 1/2-inch ratchet on here, we're gonna go ahead and loosen this up. Okay, perfect. There you go, just like that. The last thing you have to do is remove this almost like rubber band that goes on the steering rack. See it right here. Pull that straight off, and we're going to replace that. Go ahead and install the new rubber band as supplied with your TRW kit back on the steering rack back here. Go and take your new odor clamp and slide it down the shaft of your steering rack here and put it just past that rubber band that you just installed. So it's a lot easier to put that clamp on after you put the accordion on. Because the new inner tie rod looks like a black oxide, I don't want this to rust in the future. So I'm gonna go apply some anti-seize on these threads here so that future removal will be easier. And then go ahead and take a rag, just wipe off the excess. Take your inner tie rod and go hand thread it onto the steering rack. Until it's snug. The crow's foot for the new TRW inner tie rod is a 1 7/16, so go ahead and install that. And then go put on your inner tie rod removal tool. Now that's clamped on, we can go and torque this down. Now torque this down to 59 foot-pounds. Go ahead and remove the tool. All right, at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and apply some synthetic grease to the rack and pinion here, just to help these gears work a lot better. I'm gonna put it in the teeth, just kind of like get this everywhere I can get it here, using a disposable glove. I really wanna get this greased up so that none of this corrosion can come back to my steering rack. Here's a better shot of where I'm putting this grease along the rack and pinion here, and I'm going to rotate the wheel left and right. Take some silicone that's supplied with your TRW kit and apply it to where the accordion hose is going to go and where that band clamp is on as well. This will help to create a better environmental seal. Go ahead and remove this nut and prep for the accordion weather boot. Now go ahead and slip this boot on and go all the way. And you may need to go actually turn the steering wheel all the way to the right to get that boot to seat. The next thing you need to do is slide this boot up onto the power steering rack. That's going to go over that black rubber band. All right, so to secure that odor cure clamp that is now on the top of that boot, you're going to need some odor cure clamp pliers. What's nice about these is you can go from the top or the side. See these little guys right here? I will link these in the description below. But now you can go in from the top and clamp that odor cure clamp down to seal that boot connection. Okay, so I found it a little bit easier. Go under the car. You're gonna have to remove this panel here. I was able to fit these clamps right here through this window to go and secure that clamp down. All right, our next step is there's this little detent here on the inner tie rod. We're gonna go put this clamp on. So go ahead and put that accordion tube back on there. And let's go ahead and slide this on. Just like this. Take the new lock nut from the kit from TRW Go ahead and thread this on. Okay. Now, take your new outer tie rod and go ahead and thread this on. Again, and we're gonna go put this nut, we're gonna bottom one out, we're gonna transfer our measurement from before onto the new tie rod. Now, if this nut is a different thickness than the original one you took off your car, you will have to account for that. So if it's a shorter nut, smaller nut height, you're gonna have to add some distance to your measurement before, but go double check your calculations. And we're gonna go match that up to where we were before. Go lock this down. And tighten this down to 37 foot-pounds. This knot right here. You can see right here, number 7 is the outer tie rod, and number 7 tie rod lock nut is 37 foot-pounds. Go ahead and remove the nut off the outer tie rod. Instructions do say to add a little bit of silicone to this top mating surface right here on the rubber boot. So go ahead and squeeze some silicone on there, just like that. Now go ahead and push this tie rod into the knuckle and go put your nylon nut loosely on top. Now take a 5mm Allen and a 19mm wrench. Put the wrench on the nut. And the Allen is going to go into the tie rod itself, and we're going to go work the tie rod into the joint. And tighten this until the nut on the top is snug. According to our diagram here, this is going to be nut number 11. And it's going to be torqued down to tie rod steering to knuckle, 56 foot-pounds. Torque this down to 56 foot-pounds. All right, guys, that concludes our video for today on how to replace your inner and outer tie rods on your 2005-2012 Porsche 911 Cayman or Boxster. All it's left to do is put the wheels in the car, torque it down to 100 foot-pounds, and drive to your nearest alignment shop. All the suspension parts and tools I've used in the video today will be linked in the description below. And if you have any questions at all, please drop it in the comments section. And always consider giving me a little like, a subscribe, and maybe a little super thanks, and we'll see you next time.